We are less than 12 years away from not being able to undo our mistakes. But I don't want your hope. I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. And then I want you to act. I want you to act as if you would in a crisis. I want you to act as if the house was on fire. Because it is.
The climate crisis has never been treated as a crisis. And so I think that should be a start.
Climate change and how to battle it has been a big global topic in 2019, and the debate has been led by a teenager from Sweden.
Activist Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg.
That this whole movement has essentially been started by your actions last year.
And a teenager has become an international symbol of youth action against climate change.
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg.
Greta Thunberg.
Most talked about people at this year's meeting were Greta Thunberg and Donald Trump.
I first started learning about climate change when I was maybe 8. In school, when my teachers showed us pictures of plastic in the ocean and starving polar bears and extreme weather events, those pictures were stuck in my head. I couldn't stop thinking about them. When I was maybe 11, I became depressed. I stopped eating and I stopped talking and I stopped going to school. I got out of that depression by thinking to myself, there's so much I can do.
It started in 2018, when she began demonstrating outside the Swedish parliament every Friday.
I am on a school strike for the climate until the Swedish election.
What does your school think about your actions and your family?
When I first told my parents, they didn't think it was such a good idea. They weren't very fond of it. They said, isn't there anything else you can do? And I said, no, I'm going to do this. In my school, they support what I'm doing, but not that I'm not in school.
And a mentally ill Swedish child who is being exploited by her parents.
Greta Thunberg pumped full of more vaccines than a porcupine.
It was all a little melodramatic.
She's causing and instilling fear in millions of kids around the world.
How dare you! You need to stand down and you need to cut off all the carbon now! I am watching you, American. We're watching you. We will deal with you.
I felt very uncomfortable watching it yesterday. Encouraging people to take the day off, disrupt our cities and stage protests. More on some of that silliness in a moment, but she knows little and does less. She should be at school, but we see this sort of attention instead, and she tells the climate alarmists exactly what they want to hear.
Listen to the science.
And the planet is the most important thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, for all of us, I think it should be.
Why?
And now she's on the president's radar as well. Overnight, the president seeming to mock this teenage activist with a sarcastic tweet.
Would you sit down with him to try to help him understand climate change?
I don't understand why I would do that.
Mr. President, go fuck yourself. It's an island in Sweden. It's lovely. They have a lighthouse, and you know where you can stick it.
I guess everyone who meets you says thank you, because what you're doing, it's the loudest voice.
But I think her condition, you can tell, she doesn't care what the others are saying.
Greta Thunberg is demon-possessed and in need of an exorcism. Look how Greta looked 5 years ago, 3 years ago. She didn't look as psychotic, but boy, they've gotten to her now.
And maybe that could be how Greta Thunberg saves the world.
Well, it's an interesting debate, isn't it? I mean, I just feel uncomfortable that she has got Asperger's. So, you know, people who have Asperger's or...
She calls it her superpower.
If you lose that sense of wonder, you've lost one of the most important things in your life.
Never compromise. What you're doing today will have an impact on the planet for thousands and thousands of years.
They are driving her as this kind of global figure. Is that healthy for her? Should she be? She says, back at school.
She's the right person at the right time.
You know, the silent majority will be going to school on Friday holding a pen, not a placard. And for me, I think, really, why are we holding this such a laissez-faire attitude to striking, you know? Because we should be in school on Friday. Education is the power.
And then every Friday, in front of the Capitol, we're having a fire drill where we will speak about a specific issue having to do with climate change.
When Greta paints a picture that literally the world's about to end, ecosystems collapsing, blah, 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 all that very emotive language, is it a little OTT?
Or does she have a point? It really, really isn't. We've got a certain amount of carbon dioxide, and if we emit that, we're at this tipping point.
We've stolen our children's future, we're still stealing it, and we must get together now.
What's your argument as to why it's important that the students do this on a day when they should be in class? Because as you've just pointed out, your school are helping you to catch up. But when it's on the scale of tens of thousands of students walking out, that's very onerous on the education system to pick up those pieces.
Why should I be studying for a future that soon may be no more, when no one is doing anything whatsoever to save that future? And what's the point of learning facts when the most important facts, given by the finest science, clearly means nothing to our society? I can't vote, so this is one of the ways I can make my voice heard.
Anyone else find that chilling? I can't wait for Stephen King's sequel, Children of the Climate.
Every school day for 3 weeks until the upcoming election, and then that was my plan to stop after the election. But then on the Friday, September 7th, that's when Fridays for Future started, because then I thought, why not continue? Why stop now when we are actually having an impact?
They may not be winning yet, but their impact is growing.
Turn off, kill! Humans are bad, get rid of everyone! Ah, save yourselves by dying, ah!
We've got 8.5 years. If we don't stop polluting like we do, it might reduce to 6 years.
And this is so much bigger than just the New York protests. Take a look, part of a global call for action. There have been similar rallies happening all day long, all around the world, from New Jersey to Boston to even overseas in Paris.
It was all end of the world, apocalyptic. I don't want millions, if not billions, of young people watching Greta do that kind of speech and genuinely think the planet is literally about to end.
Stay at home.
The Italian government tonight put the entire country on lockdown.
Authorities there have declared wartime control measures.
The largest coronavirus lockdown in the world is happening right now in India.
For the last 2 weeks, I've been isolated, and then I got the virus. But then I started feeling some symptoms after a few days.
It's a crazy issue now. What's going on with this world? And I know.
It's like a Hollywood movie script, isn't it? You couldn't write it like this.
21 days. Stay inside. It's a matter of health and safety. Don't touch anything. Some disease that came from the other side of the planet. And now I haven't seen my family in weeks. COVID-19.
COVID-19 and the devastating health and economic crises that it's caused clearly shows how precarious our relationship to nature truly is.
We really do need to listen to the science, whether it's climate change or an epidemic, and act accordingly.
We have to make a choice. Place the longevity of our planet and our health at the forefront, or continue to use limited resources that harm the environment.
COVID-19 has slowed the world down,
And that, on the surface, seems to be a good thing for that other deadly global crisis: climate change.
From space, China's air pollution, shown in red, shrunk dramatically between December and March.
The coronavirus pandemic response has also shown us that large-scale changes are possible, even in a globalized world.
It feels like right now the world is totally different from how it was just a week ago.
Gas emissions plunged in April by about 17% overall.
Climatologists are calling the massive drop-off in emissions since society slowed down one big experiment, a chance to see a world without us humans playing such a prominent part. The question, what lessons can we learn?
To coronavirus shutdowns that have devastated the economy, environmental changes are now happening at an unprecedented rate.
People want to know what will happen and how are we going to move forward. And it might be hard for many to accept that we don't know anything what's going to happen. We don't know how long this is going to go on.
So at least 565 people are dead and more than 28,000 infected
in 114 countries
around the world.
The country is fast approaching 100,000 American lives lost in the coronavirus.
U.S.-based biotech.
Authorities reported nearly 36
down
is supposed to
fly. It plans to recruit 30,000 people across the U.S.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
I would like to say something that I think people need to know. I have some remarks I would like to give.
Please.